How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. We know it's that time of the year again. It's Stanley Cup playoff time, and the most exciting time of the year for all you hockey fans out there. So, what did I decide to do? I'm deciding to pick brackets for the actual thing and to keep up to date every time there's a team eliminated and so forth. And I'm going to make a video. I know it's not gaming, but it has to do with hockey. And, I figure that's good enough for the channel. I'm hockey related. So, as you can see, this is from NHL.com. You can do it right on the website. I'll put a link in the description on where you guys can go pick your own bracket if you guys want to also do this. It's like a challenge. I think if you live in Canada, you have the potential to win something. But it's just basically to see if you get to pick who wins the Stanley Cup. So, I believe you just click make your picks like so, and then you just have to pick your thing. So, as you can see, we have round one. We have the number 1 seed Chicago Blackhawks versus the number 8 seed Minnesota Wild. And Minnesota just getting by that last game over Columbus. So sad loss for Columbus. Shootout commentary is up about talking about that. But I predict that Chicago will sweep Minnesota. That's my prediction. The Detroit and Anaheim series is a little bit different. I want Detroit to win. Do I think they're going to win? Yes. The reason why I think they're going to win is because Detroit just won 4 games in a row to get themselves into the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now, in my opinion, that's the best thing going. That's the best. They're like the best team going into the Cup final, for that exact reason, because they weren't like little tight victories. They pretty much demolished every single team that they played against. So what I'm gonna do for this exact reason, I'm gonna pick Detroit in 5 games over Anaheim. I know it sounds a little bit weird, and both my teams are in the Western Conference that I would like to see in the Stanley Cup final, which kind of sucks. But both my teams potentially could play each other in round 2. So in this next division matchup, you have the San Jose Sharks versus the Vancouver Canucks. I'm picking San Jose in 6 for the main reasons of San Jose is playing really clutch. They are the 6th seed team, but they seem to get things done when they need to get it done, and it's happened against us multiple times. So Vancouver, you guys have choked in the playoffs the past couple years. Prove me wrong. Maybe if Luongo gets the start, maybe he won't choke this year and do something good and maybe lead Vancouver to a cup again. I don't know. But that's my pick. So the LA Kings and St. Louis game, this series might be a little bit one that's a little bit tossed up. People are saying the Kings have a chance. People are saying St. Louis has a chance. I think St. Louis has the better chance, but I'm gonna say in 7 games, I'm gonna pick. Or wait, I have to do this. So I have to pick. I pick Chicago in 4, Detroit, San Jose, and I'm gonna pick St. Louis in 7 over LA for the main reason that St. Louis has like their team chemistry I find is a little bit better than the Kings. The Kings are coming off of a Stanley Cup victory, but I do believe the St. Louis Blues are going to be able to beat them in 7 games. It's going to be a full stretch series. Now, the Pittsburgh Penguins versus the New York Islanders. This could be your upset of the playoffs. This one or like your Minnesota against Chicago. Those could be your 2 biggest upset games. These 2 games, your Montreal Ottawa game, your Anaheim Detroit game, not too big of an upset as both teams can go either way. But the Chicago and Minnesota game versus the Chicago and Minnesota versus Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders are going to be your 2 upset games. I don't think Minnesota has the ability to be able to beat Chicago, but I think the Islanders could possibly beat Pittsburgh. Am I going to pick the Islanders over Pittsburgh? Hell no, I'm not. I'm picking Pittsburgh in 4. I believe, they've been clicking really well as a team with the additions that they picked up, and I don't know how the fuck they're under salary cap still, but they are. So Pittsburgh, you have my pick, 4 games over the Islanders. Now this series next, Montreal versus Ottawa. I'm going to pick Ottawa. Now the reason I'm picking Ottawa is they have Erik Karlsson back, somebody that they didn't have throughout the season, yet they still made the playoffs. Karlsson could be that missing key that the team needed to spark off their offense. I mean, he's come back, and what does he have? I think he has like 3 or 4 points in the couple games that he has back or so. I think he got 2 assists tonight. That could potentially be your winner. I'm taking Ottawa in 6. The next matchup between Washington and the New York Rangers, this one's going to be a little bit iffy too, as it could go either way. You have the 3rd seed Washington Capitals versus the 6th seed New York Rangers. Rangers looked really good going into the season, but they did trade away Marian Gaborik. Washington, Ovechkin's decided to come out and play this year. Something that, we haven't seen the past couple years, but he just decided to turn on the Jets and actually do something this year. Now, the biggest question on this one is Ovechkin going to play in the playoffs? Is he going to play how he played the end of the season in the playoffs? If he does, I'm going to say Washington takes this one in 5. That's my prediction. Now, the game that a lot of people, wanted Montreal, Toronto, but they ended up getting Boston, Toronto. All you Maple Leaf fans, you guys made the playoffs for the first time in 8 years? Congratulations to you guys. You guys deserved it. 5th seed. I mean, you're not even that 8th seed team in the Islanders. But do I think you guys are going to beat Boston? I do. I actually think the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to beat Boston in 7 games. That's my round 1 picks. The reason I think Toronto's going to beat Boston, they're fueled up. This is the first playoff run in 8 years. They're obviously going to be giving it everything they've got. A first-round exit is not going to be enough for this team. With the additions that they have added this year, did make a difference. And even though they fired Brian Brook, the team still is playing well together. Will Phil Kessel, JVR, Kadri, Lupul, all your big names in Toronto, are they going to be able to click and get it done in the playoffs? Well, we shall see. We shall see. So those are my round 1 picks. And now we go to round 2. So Chicago and Detroit. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick the Chicago Blackhawks over to the Detroit Red Wings. I know that this is very... it hits me hard, but Chicago and Detroit being my 2 favorite teams in the NHL. I know it's really weird. They're really big rivals, Detroit and Chicago. But I have liked Chicago ever since they picked up Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane. Even though Detroit and Chicago, that's where Detroit played some of their best hockey, was against Chicago. I want Chicago. I believe Chicago is going to be able to come up and get the win against Detroit if this happens in the second round, if they're able to play each other in the second round. Round 2. Predictions for St. Louis Blues versus San Jose Sharks. I'm going to take the San Jose Sharks. Again, the way that they play in the playoffs, they are, spectacular. They have been the past couple years. We've got past those, I think the past 2 years, I think it was Phoenix first round, San Jose second round, and knocked down in 6 games for the Detroit Red Wings. And just the way that they played against us was fantastic. I'm not expecting anything less from them this year, even though they do have that 6th seed. I'm still expecting them to give one hell of a run in the playoffs. And, San Jose over St. Louis. With the Pittsburgh and Ottawa game, I'm going to actually pick Pittsburgh for this one. Still team that I believe is going to be able to beat the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa, I believe you guys are going to get past the first round. Don't believe you guys are going to get past the second round. You guys don't have the depth to get past the second round against the ridiculous Pittsburgh Penguins lineup. That's my prediction for the, I believe, Eastern Conference first matchup, and the Eastern Conference second matchup, Washington versus Toronto. I'm going to pick the Capitals again. I want to see Ovechkin come out on top. If he's playing, he's getting, 3 points a night? And that's what he's been averaging in the past little while. So if he's averaging 3 points a night, I'm pretty sure that we can safe to say the Washington Capitals will beat your Toronto Maple Leafs. Those are my round 2 picks. Let's go to the third round. So your conference finals. Chicago versus San Jose is what I'm going to say in the conference finals, and Pittsburgh versus Washington. This Pittsburgh versus Washington conference final for the Eastern Conference would be one hell of a conference final. Reason, you have, if Crosby was available to play, you would have Sid the Kid versus Ovechkin. That draft class of clashing people clashing together, but just the rivalry between Pittsburgh and Washington from those 2 players is phenomenal. Who do I think would come out on top? I am not going to say Pittsburgh. Without Sidney Crosby, they're still good. They're not as good as they once were. Sidney Crosby, as much as I don't like the guy, when we're playing in the NHL, the second it becomes the Olympics, it's a completely different story. He's a Canadian kid, and every Canadian has to respect Sidney Crosby, and every hockey fan has to respect Sidney Crosby for his skills and magic that he performs while he's on the ice. But I believe with Ovechkin playing the way he is going to be able to lead the Washington Capitals to the Cup final this year. The team that I think they're going to go up against is the Chicago Blackhawks. I think it's going to be a Chicago-Washington final, and the reason I think Chicago is going to beat San Jose is Chicago has that depth. It's going to come down to depth. Now, Pittsburgh also has depth, but with Ovechkin putting up 3 points a night, that's what he's been averaging the past couple nights. I'm not expecting any less from him. If he puts up 3 points a game for that entire Pittsburgh series, I think it's safe to say that at least one of them is going to be a goal. And, he's going to be making offensive plays. And you can't rule out Mike Ribeiro, can't rule out Backstrom. And basically, I think that Washington Capitals are going to overcome Pittsburgh. I want to say in 5 games if it gets to that. So, San Jose versus Chicago. Chicago's going to take San Jose out. Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, Marian Hossa. All these guys have been in this situation before. I don't think the guys in, I guess the guys in San Jose have been there on different teams, but I don't think they've been to the conference final. Actually, wait, have they? I'm trying to think. And then never mind, I retract that statement. They made it there a couple times, but they haven't performed well enough to get to the Stanley Cup final in the past couple of years. Chicago has been there. They know what's on the line. They know what they need to do to get the Cup final. I believe they're going to make it against the Washington Capitals. So that's going to be my conference final. And then Chicago versus Washington. I'm taking Chicago. And then total goals scored in the final game. I'm assuming this is the final game, or just the final series. If it's the final series, then if it's the final series, I'm gonna say, 17 goals between the two teams in the series. I don't think it's gonna be high scoring games. I think the games are gonna be even, dead on even, and I just believe Chicago is gonna be able to come away with a win with this. So that's gonna be my Stanley Cup pick. And these are going to be my picks. So I'm calling Chicago Blackhawks as the cup champions. Chicago against Washington. If you're giving me that shit that I didn't call that, this is proof that I'm calling it from even before the playoffs started. This is my bracket. This is the way it looks. Feel free to leave in the comment section what you guys think. What I actually do think I'm going to do, if I can, like I don't know if the picks get locked exactly how they are, but after one team gets eliminated, I will go back. I will do an update video with this stuff, or maybe after the entire first round's done. I'm not sure. I'll do something. I'm gonna keep up to date with this stuff, and I'm gonna be basically doing update videos. And if I can, I will change my let's say I pick a wrong match, and I can pick like the amount of games the two teams have in the second bracket or in the second round, the games that it'll take between the two teams. Then I'll go do that. If I can't, then this is how it's going to stay. This is what I'm saying. This is my predictions for the Stanley Cup Final. If you guys don't think so, leave your opinion in the comment section below. Also, remember, I'm a Wings fan, so me saying that Detroit gets knocked out in the second round is heartbreaking to me. If you're going to say, oh, my team's just going to make it all the way to the final, like if you're going to say the Islanders are just going to make it all the way to the final because they're my favorite team, that's not a smart pick. Like, if you actually think the Islanders can make it to the final and beat all of these crazy teams that they're going to have to go up against, that's your decision. But if you're picking them just for your favorite team in the final, I'm rooting for Detroit all the way. But do I think they're going to make it? No. This is a realistic pick. This is realistic for me. This is what I think is going to happen from what I've witnessed in the past. Is it going to go out this way? If it goes out this way, I should just start working for TSN or something like that. But I don't believe it is. Or play the lottery. Which, either way is very good. So those are my picks for the Stanley Cup Final. Let me know what you guys think. If I'm an idiot, or tell me like your division round picks and stuff like that. And yeah, so I will be keeping up to date with this stuff. Hope you guys like this kind of stuff, as I can do more of it in the future. And yeah, that's about it. So playoff hockey, everyone. It's the best time of the year.